I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. It is the 17th of the month, and that means it's time for our monthly Calling All Sistahs blog hop to remind you to do your breast self-exams and schedule those yearly mammograms if it's time. My card today will be using leftovers basically from this card that I made several months ago. I'll have links to that video up above and to the card blog post down below as well. Here you can see the leftover piece from the frame that I cut out, and also just some little banners and hearts that I cut out from a second technique piece I made while I was making the first. Now I wanted to create kind of a clothesline, so I took a piece of baker's twine and I just cut it larger than I needed, and then I'm squeezing out some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium on my craft mat. It's a non-stick surface, and I'm just rubbing it into that baker's twine. I wiped off the excess there so it doesn't stick to my mat, and then I'm curving the twine around a piece. It's just a roll of tape basically, because I wanted it to dry in that shape. I'm just going to set it aside to dry, and when it does, it's going to dry clear and matte, so you're not going to see the glue, but it's going to hold that shape. I then glued my baker's twine onto this frame, and you just set it aside to dry. I kind of put some pressure on there and hold it for a few seconds. It doesn't take very long, but I do want to make sure it's nice and dry. And now I'm using my deactivator tool. It just removes the static from my cardstock. I'm using black cardstock, and I wanted to make sure that the white embossing powder I'm using doesn't stick to where I don't want it to stick. I want to make sure I don't cover up my sentiment with the frame, so I'm just bringing it back in for placement. Now the sentiment comes from the stamp set called B from Casual Friday Stamps, and it says, "You are capable of more than you know." I just love that. So here I have the embossing powder. This is Wow Opaque Bright White embossing powder. It's super fine. And I just funnel it into a coffee filter. I find that that's the easiest way. And then I'm going to take my heat tool and just heat set this to melt that embossing powder. It really pops, that white does, against the black cardstock. I'm using a Swiffer cloth to just wipe off the excess powder left from the deactivator tool. You can use whatever you have on hand. The microfiber cloth works very well. And then I clean my stamp with the chamois. It's my favorite way to clean now. I still have my Stampin' Up! Scrubber, which I do like, but this just requires water, so I find that to be very convenient. I'm going to speed this video up a little bit more. I cut the strings down so that it wasn't hanging out quite so far. I took that Ranger Matte Multi-Medium again, because if it seeps out onto the black, it's going to be clear and matte. You won't be able to see it. I centered it on my card front, and then I just took my mini Misty tool and set it on top of that till it dried. Like I said, it only takes like 20 seconds or so for it to dry, and once it does, it has this strong bond. But it's important to have good contact, so a heavy book or something would work as well. Here's the technique piece I used to die cut out these banners and hearts. The banners come from Blueprints 27 by My Favorite Things. They've got a little stitch line across the top. It's hard to see in video, but it's really cute. And I popped those up with dimensionals. The large hearts also came from that die set, and I'm going to just use some glue to stick those underneath the string, so the banners kind of pop up and the hearts go behind. Now the little hearts came from the 2 used die set from Casual Friday Stamps. For the little hearts, I just added glue to the cardstock itself, and I'm using my pickup tool to pick those little hearts up and add them to my card. Once this card was done, I was looking at it and it just seemed like it was missing something. So I took that same technique piece and I die cut out Sistahs from the Calling All Sistahs line from Casual Friday Stamps, and I just glued it to the very top of the card. Hopefully this has inspired you to use up your scraps that may be laying on your desk and a second technique piece to create even more cards. I want to invite you all to take part in the blog hop. Head on over to my blog if you're not there already. Leave a comment, and leave a comment on the other stops along the hop for a chance to win a prize. And most importantly today, I want to remind you to check yourself. Do your self-exams, schedule your mammograms, because early detection is key. And you are so important to me and those who love you. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!